Case history: the good, the bad, the ugly. Wednesday, October 24, 2012. What a week. First, I have Ananda Arumugam, not his real name of course, walking into my clinic after an absence of 6 years. A post-infarct patient who lost his job because his boss thought he could no longer deliver. Now a boss himself with 20 or so people working depending on him. Then there is CML, a young Chinese engineer, just turned 32-year-old and just married, with advanced lung cancer complicated by a disseminated neoplasm to his pleural cavity, that is a sac covering the lung, resulting in fluid accumulation and partial collapse of both lungs, and acute blockade of his pulmonary circulation because of pulmonary embolism due to increased clotting activity, that is increased thrombogenicity arising from the cancer situation. And as if this is already not enough, a very tense and compressed heart due to malignant fluid accumulation in between the heart and its pericardial sac. We term this pericardial effusion leading to a tamponade. This young man has advanced cancer, stage 4, and in real deep shit. I had to do an emergency evacuation of the malignant accumulated fluid by doing a pericardiocentesis. That was just the beginning of things to come. He needed top-notch specialist oncological treatment with the latest chemotherapy regime available. 2 days after the pericardial tap, he went into respiratory failure due to the dual additive effects of pulmonary embolism and his lungs encroachment by disseminated cancer. He needed to be actively ventilated to tide over the acute situation while the chemotherapy takes its slow effect. Prognosis, God only knows. Statistically speaking, if he survives this current episode, probably 2 years at best, in the best of centers. Not great, but this is the reality of life when you happen to be in a deep shit like this. Next came Madam GKL, a 61-year-old Chinese lady, arrived at our ER in extremis. She was pulseless and not breathing. The ER medical officer noted ventricular fibrillation on the ECG, meaning she has a cardiac arrest. The ER in my hospital is one of the best places to have a cardiac arrest in the whole of KL and PJ. The staff there are all superb at bringing back people who are actually ready to go to the other side and pull back to this side of the realm. After half an hour of active resuscitation and ventilation, JKL's heart comes back to sinus rhythm. She was by now on artificial ventilation, and my anesthetic colleague was in charge of the breathing. I approached the husband. Sir, your wife has massive acute myocardial infarction, and I'm bringing her straight to the cath lab now to do an angiogram to look at the blockages and open them up with balloons and then tack them up with metal wire mesh called stand, which would act as scaffolding. We have no choice and no time, and time is of the essence. It is early days now for us to tell the effect of the cardiac arrest on the brain. That we have to assess later. The husband agrees. Try your best, doctor, your very, very best. 1 hour later, in the wee hours of the morning, she came out of the cardiovascular lab, cath lab, with all her blockages open and the 3 stents implanted. That took care of the heart. As to the effect of hypoxia, that is lack of blood flow or no flow due to cardiac arrest on the brain, that need to be assessed the next day. Need to give her some time. On the 3rd hospital day, she's still fully ventilated. Brain function assessed by EEG showed minimal activities. The outlook is green. A long-term vegetative state as a possibility on the card, a 99.9% probability. She has global hypoxic encephalopathy, the period of no oxygen and no blood flow to the brain while arriving to the hospital was too long. I had a long discussion with her husband. He does not foresee a vegetative situation as something that is why we have like. Doc, you are Muslim, and I also people of the book. Both of us believe in him in our very own way. What do you think I should do? He asked me. Sir, we have done our utmost best, me as a doctor and you as a husband. As a Muslim, I entirely agree with your plan to bring her home and let God decide. But sir, things will happen very quickly the moment we wound down her treatment, especially the active ventilation. At the moment, she has no ability to breathe by herself. The signals from the brain are not there, so to speak. Whatever we decide, let your Canada-based son and daughter arrive at KLIA first tonight and see their mother still alive. After that, with your agreement, I will unwind everything. I'm not playing God, of course. It is just the small things that He allows us to play around with. You know what I mean. It will be kinder for your children in the long run. And I would do that if you and your children could come to an agreement all round about this. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly handed to me on my plate this week. At this juncture in my private and professional life, I wish I could be more involved. I could be involved more in all my patients' spiritual life due to this feeling of mahabbah for my fellow humans, but societal, medical, ethical considerations and political correctness does not allow that boundary to be traversed. A pity. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. From Him we come, to Him we return. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wa Allahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Ya Fattah, Ya Razzaq, Ya Wahhab, Ya Ghani, Ya Mughni, Ya Qadim, Ya Daim, Ya Ahad, Ya Wahid, Ya Samad, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, Ya Rabb, Ya Zal Jalal wal Ikram, Ya Rabb, Ya Zal Jalal wal Ikram, Ya Rabb, Ya Zal Jalal wal Ikram.